Going to begin a new series today called Predators on the Homestead. We're going to talk about weasels and their kin today. Weasels and mink particularly like anywhere where it's near a water source or a swamp. And as you can see, we have plenty of that. And we've seen lots of weasels and mink crossing the path here. And there's our hen house. And weasels and mink are opportunists. They like to take prey, and they're kind of like a dog that gets in a pen or a cat. They just kill and kill and kill because they can, and it's fun to them. So when they kill animals, then particularly chickens, then they will take and they'll cache them, which is hide them in a spot. When we had a mink attack, it hid them under the hen house. The first time we had a mink attack, it was in the middle of the night. We were stupid and we didn't lock up the chickens then. And the mink just came in and he killed 2 hens and 23 chicks that were under their mother. The mother never even got off the chicks. It was so fast. And so we lost quite a few birds on that one. And he was stuffing the chicks under the hen house for later. So when you have had an attack like that, you want to, as swiftly as you can, put out a trap for them. If you have parts left over from your animal attack, then put them in the trap, because they will return for what they've already... Use gloves so they're not going to smell you on it, if you can. If you don't have anything like that, and you've just perceived that they're around, one way you're going to perceive weasels, mink, and anything in that family is a definite skunk smell. Now don't mistake it, because during this time of the year, this is in April, May, you've got skunk cabbage, and that smells skunky too. So look for corroborating things, like your animals are acting alarmed. Your chickens will put off an alarm that you'll know as a person that keeps chickens. That means that there's a predator. And you'll also see tracks around that look like little kitten tracks. So watch for tracks, watch for signs around your homestead that something's wrong. And as soon as you know something's wrong, put out a trap. And very often you will be able to catch the culprit either after he's done something or before he's done something. In both of our cases, it was after, unfortunately. We had him going through the goat pen one time. And he is a possible danger to the baby goats, because the baby goats are only a couple pounds. You know, it's the size of a rabbit, and they do take rabbits. So what you want to use for bait, if you don't have pieces of the animal that the weasel-like creature has done in, is some tuna. Just home can. We've used home canned tuna. This is obviously commercial canned. Again, try not to touch everything. Use gloves, and stick your tuna in the back of your trap. Set your trap. Put the trap, if you've found tracks, put it facing the direction that the tracks were coming toward, so that you're interrupting the path that he already was taking. Look for signs of where he's been walking, disturbances in the grass, disturbances in dew on the grass if it's morning, so that you know where he's come from. You can see little animals have been coming through here, for instance, and this is a very well-established wildlife trail that goes through there. And mink come through there, and coyote come through there, and bear come through there. As you can see here, larger predators. And it leads all the way back through there. And I've seen many coyotes back there. So if you can get the trap set out fast enough, then do. And be vigilant in checking your trap, because you don't want bycatch like cats. This size trap or smaller can catch a mink. Rat traps can be used to catch a mink or a weasel. And if it's legal in your state, leg hold traps, a very small leg hold trap, can be used. It's not legal in Washington state anymore, thanks to people like me who thought we knew better and voted that we should outlaw them. As you go along as a homesteader, you realize some of the mistakes you made when you were not homesteading. Vote carefully, people, because these things later affect you in life. I didn't know why anybody would need to trap those sorts of animals with a leg hold trap. I now understand that. So these are legal still. Rat traps, of course, are legal. Do be aware of what state law is on how to dispose of the animal once you've caught it. Some animals, they will let you release, some they won't. But my policy is if you've caught a predator animal that has been invading your flock or your herd, that you need to not pass it on to your neighbor, for instance. But there's some that you just can't do a whole lot about. Down here in Long Beach, we now have a Wolverine, and a Wolverine is a giant weasel. It's in the weasel family, so it does the same things that weasels do. It's mischievous. It kills more than it can eat. So one time I was out by the little chicken pen, and I smelled this extremely strong scent of skunk. And I got out my little live trap because I thought it was a mink hanging around. And then I found a Wolverine track in the pony pen. And so the little trap wasn't going to help with that. So do be aware, look for corroborating evidence of what kind of a predator it is. The other mink attack we had, after we learned to lock them up at night, was they waited till we were gone at lunch. And they took off through the hen yard, and they killed 3 hens and a rooster and a duck and some chicks, and they tried to drag them under the wire. Mink can climb, they can dig, and they can fit through an 1.5 by 1.5 hole. So you do want to be aware of that whenever you're fencing animals in. And we had one coming up through a rotten spot in the hen house floor. So maintain your pens. Make sure the doors shut tight. Make sure locks can't be worked by predators like that. But be vigilant on your homestead as far as predators go. Mink can be very disastrous. They can take a lot of animals in a very short amount of time, mink and weasels. And you want to do something quickly when you know that they're around. And that is Predators on the Homestead, Weasels and their kin.